So if you're watching this video, you probably are worried about ransomware. You might have already disconnected your NAS from the network or internet just to avoid getting this ransomware. Yes, this is probably one of the ways to avoid ransomware, just disconnect your NAS from the internet or Ethernet, but what is the point of having NAS in that in the first place? Because if you got a NAS, you probably want to run either Plex server, video server, audio server, web server, virtual station, whatever you want, something you can access remotely. And if you can't do that, then what's the point of NAS? Just get a USB drive and keep your data there. So let's talk about what is ransomware. Ransomware is something like a virus or malware which is going to encrypt your data, your precious data, and put a lock on it. So to get the lock key, you need to pay either $500, £1,000, dollars, whatever, to get this data back. If you don't pay it, you don't get it. You can find ways around to get this data back. You can wait maybe 10 years and wait for the crack available, because, as you know, all encryptions are becoming weaker and weaker with the time. That's why there are new encryptions involved. So you can wait 10 years and then crack this zip, this archive, and get your data back. But otherwise, you should be thinking about avoiding it. And this is what this video is about. And not only you can have ransomware on NAS, because everyone is just worried about NAS being infected, you can also get ransomware on a PC. Just a few years ago, you had WannaCry virus, which was the same thing. It was encrypting your computer, and without the key, you couldn't get your data back. So it's the same thing on the NAS. So let's dig in. First thing, what you should do is get a NAS with a Snapshots option. So what Snapshots is something similar like Windows System Restore. So every day or every week, you can set up automated snapshots. Like snapshot means like a sort of backup of things. Whatever changes have been made, this snapshot will capture it. So whenever you get hit by ransomware, you really don't care, because you just go back to yesterday's version and you're back in the game. So you don't care. That's the easiest, but you would need something with Celeron, probably CPU on the Synology side, Synology Plus series like 220 Plus, 720 Plus, something from Plus range, or QNAP. They allow more budget side of NASes to have snapshot technology. These are the options. Or if you can't have snapshots, you can also enable file versioning. So if file is changed, you can revert back to yesterday's version. That's an easier version of doing that. That's what I would recommend, snapshots, because not only you can protect your NAS, you can also protect your computers. So if you get hit by WannaCry again on your PC and you have it all backed up on your NAS, you can just again recover to yesterday's version. That's it. You're safe. Let's move on. Next one, close your router ports, because this is the thing what everyone gets wrong. When they are Googling how to get access to your NAS over the internet, the first thing what is always coming up is do port forwarding. So everyone is going into the router, opening ports, and then having this access to the NAS. But what you effectively are doing, you're opening a door to a world. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're just welcoming everyone in. You need a bouncer by the door. You can't just let anyone in. So you could, if you had the firewall or anything, then you could say like only these IPs come in, or whatever, through this some sort of management system you need for port forwarding. People do use port forwarding for faster connections, because you directly go into NAS. You don't use any third party in the middle. But we're going to talk about that later. So do not do port forwarding unless you know what you're doing, unless you're running web server, for example. That's the only way of doing this. But otherwise, don't do it. Disable it. Go to your router, disable it. The other thing is on the NAS side as well. They have something called Easy Internet, for example, with it. Something similar on the QNAP. This is Synology option. That thanks to UPnP, loads of routers have this option enabled, which means devices in a network have access to the router, and they have access to settings, and they can enable port forwarding, open some ports and do some changes, which is so unsafe, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can again open these doors for others to come in and put their malware, put their ransomware files on your NAS or any other device, in fact. So disable that on the NAS, or don't use those configuration wizards. Same do on the router. Log into the router and go check UPnP settings. Disable it if you really need to use UPnP. If you like that functionality and you need that in your home network, at least make sure you have extended UPnP security allowed, so at least you will have second layer of protection on this thing. Otherwise, disable it. You don't need that. This is just a way of getting through. This is a vulnerability potentially. Second, another thing, when you get new NAS, you're very likely gonna have admin account with password, which is password or admin. Disable that, okay? Or create a new account like Alan, Ed, whatever, with administrator privileges. So you will be able to do whatever admin normally would do, but hackers will not know that username with whatever you provided exists. So first thing what hackers will try is admin or root, and they'll go through brute force thousands of passwords through admin until they crack it. So I would disable admin, put on this username what actually identifies with you. Also enable two-step authentications, because then you don't need to worry about passwords in the first place, because you will need the phone to log in, not the password. Do that. Automatic app and firmware updates. Always enable automatic operating system updates. Not only that, also app updates. You can set it up to be done during the night, so it doesn't affect your workflow during the day. But make sure that these are done automatically, because you want to get the latest version of any app or operating system all the time, because this is this is so crucial. Because when there is a vulnerability, someone's NAS was attacked, QNAP or Synology will be working on creating a patch, and when they create a patch, it needs to be downloaded to your system. And if you're going to wait a week for download, you got this window of 1 week to be infected. So do that. Antivirus malware. Just like you wouldn't leave your computer without antivirus, you shouldn't be leaving your NAS without antivirus. So make sure you have antivirus, malware remover, even a firewall. And there's something like security checkup, which is going to go through all the weaknesses, all the potential threats on your NAS, and identify what you need to fix. Make sure you have that. VPN or proxy. So when you connect to your NAS, as I said, do not use port forwarding. Use VPN. So VPN, what it is you're creating a tunnel between your laptop, for example, remotely, and your NAS. So only through this one connection, only this IP is allowed, only everything is encrypted, whatever is transferred. Connect that way. If you don't want VPN, for example, if you want to use apps, you can't probably use VPN, so you need something different, like QuickConnect or Cloud ID. So what happens that instead of creating VPN between laptop and your NAS directly, you involve a third party, not third party, like middleman in this setup. So QNAP or Synology server, which is secure, is creating this tunnel with your NAS. So no one else gets in, you got this tunnel. And then you connect with your laptop to this QNAP or Synology. So you got this middle bit, which is a translator in this, like adapter in this situation. So you got this VPN's connection. So everyone was worried. Everyone was disabling Cloud Link or Synology QuickConnect. You shouldn't be worried. This is a VPN way of connecting things. So it's only one channel allowed. Vulnerability, what QNAP was having, it was HBS. It was a weakness in that app. Nothing to do with QuickConnect. Okay. Next thing, firewall for local protection. You might come threat from the local network, from different department or guest network. They can place these malware or Trojan horses, whatever they can put. If you want the extra protection, make sure that every only allowed PCs, only allowed certain IP addresses can connect to a NAS. This is how you're going to keep it safe on even your local network, not just the internet. And always remember about backups, because yes, if the NAS has 2 drives, there is a mirroring effect. Each drive is mirrored. But you always need to think about fire, flood, theft, hackers, or even inside job. If you've got some unhappy employee who has placed some sort of backdoor on your NAS, you need to make sure that all these threats are eliminated. So if you have a USB backup, or you have a second NAS, or back it up to the cloud like Backblaze, you have this safety that you can recover your data if disaster strikes. Because you can even make a deal with your friend. If he got as well NAS, he can allocate a certain space on his NAS. You do the same on your side. So he's backing his NAS to your NAS, and you do backups on his NAS. So all of this data is encrypted. You can't get into this folder and see what you have backed up, any private pictures or whatever you want. So do the backup. Disasters do strike. Okay, these have been the things about ransomware: how to keep yourself safe, how to keep your data safe, and also how to recover from a strike if you got affected by ransomware. How to recover these snapshots, for example, and backups, stuff like that. I hope this was helpful. If you got any questions, you can always go to Info.NAS Compares, fill the form, send email to Info.NAS Compares. If the question will be interesting, we're going to shoot a video like this and put on YouTube so we can help others as well. Cheerio.